There, folks. Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here with my beautiful co-host tonight, Missy Mimi's.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on there, folks? Definitely hanging out here on this beautiful Friday evening, having a little bit of barbecue, cooking up a tri-tip tonight. We're smoking it with some black cherry.
No, black walnut.
Black walnut. That's right, black walnut bark. So it should come out pretty good, hopefully. Latest quake on the map shows a 2.9 earthquake into the, did this just pop up here? Northern California region.
Is it?
Actually, right around, is that the one we were just looking at? Can't remember. Either way, California, the latest quake there on the Earthquake 3D globe. Let's go ahead and check this out. A little bit more detail here on the USGS map.
Just popped in Tom's place.
In Tom's place, okay. Wow. Go ahead and zoom in here. It's
Just
not.
wait for it. It's
I'm
coming.
not seeing it.
There it goes.
There it is. All right, just coming in as we're doing the live update, right around the Long Valley supervolcano, just outside of it. There, it looks like about 10 miles or so. A 2.9 ramping up at 6.7 kilometers below the surface. It's been relatively quiet, folks. If you look at the eastern part of the Sierra Nevada and northward, it's just been all too quiet. So it looks like things are starting to move a little bit on the eastern part of this state. We have seen a pretty significant uptick in movement in the southern part here, Southern California down into the Baja California region, with quite a bit of movement along the San Jacinto Fault area. Look at all that earthquake activity ramping up in and around the San Jacinto Fault zone. Quite a bit of movement. Also down here south of the border, south of Mexicali, some movement taking off, jumping off the Imperial Fault zone here to the west. I have been watching the Brawley seismic zone down here. A little bit of earthquake activity ramping up just south of the Brawley area with a 2.3. I wouldn't doubt if we start to see a little bit of swarming activity here around the Salton Sea as this pressure out here kind of increases, it looks like. Some movement up here off of the, what is this, the Homestead Valley Fault Zone. Haven't seen too much movement up here. 1.6 just occurring here within the last hour. A little bit of data on this specific fault zone. The Homestead Valley Fault is a right lateral strike slip fault system. Looks like a very small fault system, 29 kilometers, with the nearby community of Landers. The last surface rupture was back in 1979 with a 5.3, but it looks like there was one also in 1992 with a 7.3 magnitude. Pretty minimal slip rate of 0.5 mm per year, not a whole lot, leading towards the intervals of 7,000 years, roughly. Probable magnitudes 6.0 to 7.0, greater when the rupture involves multiple nearby faults, as in 1992. So let's see if that 7,000 years holds up, according to these guys. Either way, a little bit of movement up there tonight on that Homestead Valley Fault with a, what is it, a 1 point, let's see, where'd it go?
1.6.
1.6 at 1.9 kilometers. Pretty shallow earthquake there in that region of the state. Looking up here around the San Andreas Fault Zone, a little bit of activity up and down the creeping section, the creeper section, as I like to call it. Creeper.
It's funny, every time you say creeping section, I think of that.
Right, the creeper.
It's been a little while, but wow, look at Cobb.
Yeah, this whole area is definitely lighting up today. 54 earthquakes.
I like how that lights up after we leave.
I
I wanted to feel some quakes when
yeah,
we were there.
I know. We'll get back down there. We definitely need to get back down there, talk to these folks down there, the Calpine folks, see if we can't get a tour of the plant. Maybe talk to them about, just in general about the earthquake activity and, their response to it. But 54 earthquakes today in the geyser area. No geysers exist here, just FYI, just a name due to the hydrothermal plant operations out here from Calpine. It's a lot of earthquake activity. I don't believe we have anything above the 2.5, but 54 earthquakes of below the 2.5 threshold. It's a pretty significant uptick in earthquake activity there. A little bit of activity out in the Cascadia subduction zone. That is a subduction zone quake at 22.6 kilometers for a 1.7 inland. I should say down dip here of the Cascadia megathrust zone. Nothing significant, but continued activity nonetheless. Around what have we got in the volcanoes of the Cascade Range? Looks pretty quiet. Only a small little earthquake outside of Mount Rainier, and one around the Mount St. Helens area, and a little earthquake up here outside of the Mount Vernon area, right off the which fault system is this here?
Devil's Mountain Fault.
Devil's Mountain Fault Zone.
It's kind of a good time to do tremor, especially with that little amount up there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I don't believe that's affecting it in any way. This is
No.
only 6 epicenters. Let me
That's
refresh
just-
this and
Ooh.
see. Just got a very small amount up there in the Vancouver Island ranges.
What's going on with your hand?
I have no clue. It's been like that the past couple nights, and I can't figure it out. Someone said it looks like there's a glove or something on my hand. All I know it's a little bit irritating.
It's been bugging me every time you click. It pops up, and now it's stained.
Well, I changed it recently because someone said the pointer was too big.
Yep.
Right, kind of covered up things, and I admit it was kind of big. But the only reason why I made it big is because someone said it was too small. So did a little bit of adjustment on it. Now we're in the middle between big and small,
And
and
we're getting a glove.
yeah, we're getting
on
just
there.
a weird glove. It's strange. I can't figure it out. It is what it is. Well,
Can't beat the technology sometimes. It
I
just,
don't know. It's just odd. It just looks weird. It doesn't even look like a hand.
I know. Every time you click, I'm like, what is that?
I know.
It's distracting.
It is. You just got to ignore it.
Right.
So Ridgecrest, what do we got in Ridgecrest area? A little bit of movement up there as well, or I should say down here along the fracture zone of the 2019 earthquakes. That activity definitely could continue for years to come following those large earthquakes. Las Vegas, northwest of Las Vegas, we have been seeing a swarm of movement, still with no major main quake out here around this specific fault area. There's a Rock Valley fault zone and a little area up here to the west around the Rock Valley and the, I'm not going to say this word on the, don't even say it.
Yeah.
You're going to
Nope.
you're going to be kicked out. Up here in this area of the Yucca Mountain Range, some movement out here in this little area. It looks like, what is this? Little Skull Mountain? Is that what it says here?
Creepy.
So let's look at the satellite view, see what we got out here. Most of this activity looks like around 7 to 8 kilometers down below the surface. And I don't see any specifics on what's out here. Just a whole lot of spread out earthquake activity that has been ramping out here in this part of Nevada along this fault system called the Rock Valley Fault. So just got to keep an eye on that region. Over the last day, still movement out there in the Nevada area. So could be leading to something bigger. Could just be a little sign of regional stress out here along the western part of the North American plate. Arizona pretty quiet. New Mexico, what do we got in Texas? A little bit of activity ramping up out here in the gas and oil fields. The injection sites. Already did a little update on an article that was published here a couple years ago about how the deep water injection can contribute to earthquakes out here and activating old fault systems down there below the surface. So that continues today with a 3.5, the largest quake in that little cluster. Some movement around the Sydney area, Snyder area. I said Sydney, Snyder, right?
Yep.
It says Snyder. I've been through there a couple times. What's this?
Hermley?
Hermley
Yeah.
or Hermley? It looks like a Lee, right? Hermley, Texas. Let us know.
When I think that, it sounds like if you put an S in front of it, it would be sleigh. So Hermley.
Hermley.
Yeah.
All right, who's right?
Okay,
2.5,
we'll
little
get
earthquake.
corrected.
Little earthquake activity out there, also outside of Enid. Been corrected on that quite a few times. There, beautiful area. Actually, been through there quite a few times when I'm out storm chasing. New Madrid zone, one little earthquake in the Tennessee region with a 2.4. Eastern part of the country looks pretty quiet. The Intermountain West regions up through Montana, little activity, nothing significant. Let's go ahead and check out the Yellowstone map while we're on it through the isthisthingOn.org is the website. Credit goes out to those folks there with the Yellowstone overview. And not a whole lot going on. We don't see too much movement out there in terms of local seismic activity at all. Just kind of dying down. A little bit of earthquake activity in the shadows here of this noise on the seismograph, but even that's pretty shallow, or pretty minimal, weak. What else we got here? Puerto Rico region looking pretty active. Still seeing a swarm of movement here. Nothing over the last hour, but definitely over the last 24 hours. Southwest part of Puerto Rico pretty active, with some earthquake activity ramping up there for sure. Let's see here. What else we got? South America, pretty quiet, right?
Yep.
Down here along the south of the Drake Passage area, at a 5.0 at 10 kilometers. Well to the west of the South Sandwich Islands region, which we've seen quite a bit of movement recently. So a little bit of migration and pressure over here to the west, it appears. But I think the last time we've seen something like this, we started to see a major uptick in earthquake activity here. So
Yeah.
got to watch that region pretty closely with that westward pressure kicking off there.
Just had a 4.2 in Tajikistan.
Tajikistan or Tajikistan?
It's Tajikistan.
Which one is it?
We already looked that one up.
So it's Tajikistan?
Tajikistan.
Are you sure about that?
I called it Tajikistan, and you're like no.
So it's Tajikistan.
Because I remember you called it Tajikistan.
Goodness.
So,
All right,
woo.
moving on. We'll figure it out. Either way, definitely a 4.2 coming in there. Pretty deep area. Of course, very typical for deep earthquake movement here in this area of this world. This area of this part of the world, I should say. Looking at the regional information, the dark colored earthquakes there indicating deep seismic activity. The white circles indicating shallow earthquakes. So up here in the mountain ranges and whatnot, seeing the deeper movement.
That one is pretty deep. 194 kilometers.
194 kilometers, yep. Pretty deep earthquake activity out there. Over here, though, very quiet. Look at the Mariana Trench through the Philippines, Japan. Goodness, this is just absolutely quiet. I believe something's got to give here pretty soon. The longer, kind of like waiting on the San Andreas Fault, right? But the accumulated stress here is different than the San Andreas Fault with that vertical movement. Not vertical, but the, what is it? Right lateral?
Yeah.
I believe.
I believe.
On the San Andreas Fault. It's not a subduction zone over there in California, at least in the southern part of the state. But the accumulated stress here along this area of the Japan Trench and the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, it's a very high area of subduction and accumulated stress, and it's just quiet. And it's just not typical to see nothing taking place here in this region. It's just odd. It's odd. It's very odd. So something's definitely got to give there eventually. Aleutian Trench and into Alaska. Little spotty activity south of Anchorage up through the Denali area. Looks like outside of Fairbanks as well. Some earthquake activity. A little hot spot through the Papua New Guinea region and the Indonesia area. Looks like quite a few fours. Even a 5.1 at this one's pretty shallow though, right smack dab at the surface. It looks like close to the surface. The other activity pretty deep around the region. New Zealand, this one here I believe is a little older one, right? Yeah, I think that one happened this morning, 4.4.
527 UTC.
Yeah, that was way earlier. I remember just north of the Christchurch area, seeing that earthquake pop off there.
Let's check the MSC site, see what's going on out there.
EMSC.
Yeah.
Zoom over here to these folks real quick. See if these guys are reporting anything different than the USGS in terms of.
Only one also. Basically.
Yeah. These guys are showing a little bit more activity. Of course, this is the last. I thought this was the last 50 earthquakes or so. I can't remember, but looks like the Middle America Trench region seeing a little bit more activity than what the USGS is showing. Go over here.
Yeah.
These guys are only showing one little earthquake here off the coast into the Middle America Trench compared to the well, quite a few fours over here off the coast of El Salvador. South America, these guys showing
2.
Yeah, see, a couple fours.
USGS dropping the ball on the 4.0 threshold.
Well, yeah.
In my opinion.
Look, 0, nothing, nada. Compared to EMSC, which is definitely reporting some movement there. When you zoom in, when we zoom into this map here, they drop down the magnitudes to show some 2s and 3s in the international community, which the USGS does not. I wish they would, but they don't. They choose not to. And these guys are kind of slow. Look at that. Are we on dial-up?
Right.
No, I don't believe we are. Got well over a gigabyte speed here, so.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah. Quite a bit of movement.
Look at right there.
So this is going to show all the 2s and 3s and whatnot. So there's definitely quite a bit of movement off the coast and inland, it looks like, into the Middle America Trench. South America, although it remains quiet on the USGS scale, definitely seen some 3s kick off there in this major subduction zone, as well as across the Indonesia area. But area that has not seen activity, even these guys are not showing it, is up here off the coast of Japan northward. So, and it's been that way for quite a while.
Yeah.
You know, USGS, EMSC, doesn't matter what agency you're monitoring, there's just quietness up here through this area of the subduction zone.
Little quake below New Zealand there.
That was the
way down there.
Yeah, that was the earthquake down here.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, we've seen that one. Well,
this morning. Was it?
Let's see here. 4.9.
16.
Yeah, that was earlier today.
Oh.
I think that was on the update video this morning. So, Middle East and the Mediterranean Sea region as well. Little 4.4 out of Greece there, it looks like. Way up here north of, I didn't even see that one up there again. We had been seeing a little bit of activity kick up here over the last couple, what is that, Jan Mayen? Right? Fracture zone, Jan Mayen fracture zone.
Yeah.
Kind of covered that a little bit ago. Let's see if it's been 7 days or if it's been longer. Yeah, it's been about 7 days. Seen a swarm of activity up here, 5.7, and quite a few fours kicking off there in this region of the world. 4.3 continues today, released tonight, it looks like, on the USGS map. Let's check out Earthquakes Canada here real quick and see if these guys are working yet. Earlier they were not. Well, yeah, they're pretty prompt now. Things working pretty quickly with their server. Not a whole lot. We don't see any red circles out there indicating the recent earthquake over the last day. There is one purple dot here. Very small earthquake, a 1.0 near. Yeah, I'd like to see you pronounce this word right here. Dead air. Dead air. Pocatier?
Pocatier.
So it's
La Pocatier.
La Pocatier. Are we correct?
It's
I don't know.
A French word. So. Pocatier.
All right. Hopefully we didn't slaughter it. Sorry if we didn't, but
yeah.
Actually, you're probably right. It kind of looks like that's how it would sound. So one little
either
earthquake.
That or Pocatieri. Something. It's got to be one or the other. Something.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a pretty French word.
Solar weather. What do we got out here? According to these folks here, solarham.net, prominence erupts February 19th as just recent on the UTC time. A large prominence that had been hanging off the northeast limb on Friday erupted tonight. The beautiful event could generate a coronal mass ejection, CME, right? But would likely be directed away from Earth. There's been some massive stuff going on here on the sun. Look at that. Imagine if that's facing Earth here. We would have some dramatic changes with GPS and whatnot taking place up there in space. I think we've been pretty lucky in terms of dodging quite a few bullets recently, but that could always change in the blink of an eye. Geomagnetic forecasts over the next 3 days looks like February 20th is the heightened event so far, unless that changes, which could happen anytime. A G1 class storm is predicted, or at least forecasted. 65% chance of storming at higher latitudes with a 30% chance there at the mid latitudes. Solar flare threat, at least on the Earth side, remains very minimal, with only a 45% chance of a C flare and an M flare at 5%. There is some coronal holes facing the Earth. Some wind stream could be adding on to the storms that are coming up here over the next couple nights. Pretty good one down south as well.
Looks kind of spooky.
Look at these sunspots starting to pop up around the bend here. So we'll see these rotate into view over the next couple days, and we'll see what they give us in terms of solar weather here on Earth. What else we got here? Anything else we need to cover, Missy Mimis?
Cindy posted.
We are going to do a question and update.
About the
question,
buoys.
yeah, question and answer.
Yeah.
What about the buoys?
She said Cindy Collins said buoy station 23461 got tripped today in the Andaman Sea by Thailand.
It's really.
Yeah.
Is it going to be this one here?
That may be it right there. Yep, Andaman Sea there. 23461. Yep, it's still moving. It's interesting.
I don't see. Hold on a second here. See what we got. Meters. A little abnormal drop, it looks like.
Yeah.
Compared to the normal pattern, which.
Any hurricanes?
Yeah, a
or
little
any
weird.
typhoons
I'm not
going
for
on
sure
out
what
there?
the weather is out there, but thanks for bringing that up. That's kind of a little odd.
Yeah.
Who knows? That's weird. Maybe it's hard to say. It's
Yeah.
actually hard to say what was going on with that, but a little drop, nothing significant. The meters are very small. I mean, there's not even a lot, but there
It's
is.
just interesting what could have triggered that.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of odd. Definitely kind of odd. So, all right, folks, stick around for the question and answer show. We're going to do that here live on the channel. And that will be it here for the update video. So have a good night. Please stay safe out there, and we will chat you guys a little bit later. Peace out, everyone.
Peace out, guys.